Testing, testing. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Are we ready? Okay, good. Welcome. Welcome to the 4 o'clock IMT 3 Incident Management Team 3 press briefing. I'm Scott Safechuck, Public Information Officer for the IMT 3. I'd like to bring up Incident Commander of the Santa Barbara County Incident Management Team 3, Chief Niels.
Good afternoon. My name is David Niels. I'm one of the Unified Incident Commanders for the Santa Barbara County Operational Area All Hazard Incident Management Team. Today, the entire county of Santa Barbara is experiencing the effects of a very complex series of storms. There are multiple areas under evacuation orders, and we need the public's adherence to these orders as we expect additional high-intensity rainfall in the overnight hours. I'd like to introduce meteorologist Eric Bolt from the National Weather Service, who will give an update on our current weather conditions.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's been quite a busy day. So far we've had about 5.5 inches of rain in downtown Santa Barbara. And as you go up just a little bit into the foothills, we're seeing 6+ inches. Up in the higher terrain, 8 to 11 inches. And so far, San Marcos Pass has received over 12 inches of rain in 24 hours. As far as we know, this is a historical record for that amount of rain in that location. So unprecedented rainfall right now, and has been occurring throughout the day. The bad news is we're not out of it yet. So the heavy rain is starting to move back into the area. It's just about to the Santa Barbara airport right now. We should expect to see heavy rain return to the city of Santa Barbara and Montecito and the rest of the South Coast in the next hour. Right now, the best guess would be that this is going to be pretty intense for the next 4 hours. I would say until 8 o'clock this evening. We're going to see, again, burst of very heavy rain. We've seen rain rates up to 1.45 inches per hour today. And another reference is 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain in 3 hours. This is why it is a very dangerous situation for flash flooding in all areas, not just old burn scars, but also in the metro area itself. So once we get past about 8 o'clock this evening, there will be a noticeable break in the precipitation for 5, maybe even 6 hours. But after the midnight hour, the air mass is going to become more unstable, and we ought to see more showers redeveloping and even a couple of thunderstorms. And this is what we're going to anticipate for the rest of late tonight and through Tuesday morning, probably until about 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. So the good news is that rainfall is not quite as widespread, but it can still be very intense and cause these heavy hourly rates that cause all kinds of flash flood potential. So we still have a ways to go. Like I said, we have a break coming after about 8 o'clock tonight, but we need to be prepared for more rain late tonight and into tomorrow morning. That's all I have on the briefing.
Thank you, Eric. Next up, I'd like to bring Chief Ederer. He's one of our operation chiefs for the Incident Management Team 3.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Travis Ederer. I'm one of the operations section chiefs here for the Incident Management Team. I only have a couple key points. A lot of the stuff has already been out there, but the number one, the main key point is that all of the agency fire departments or area fire departments are open for business, and we're able to respond to all your high priority calls. There's no question about that. Most, if not all, the agencies have done some kind of upstaffing. Some of them called everybody back possible. So there's a lot of extra service people out there willing and able to respond to your emergencies. Along with that, due to all of our pre-planning, we're able to shift resources a lot across the county to respond to not only the high priority, but also the lower acuity calls related to the storm. As you're aware, all the evacuations in place with the Cave Fire, the Alisal, and the Thomas were ordered earlier, and then we've added a lot of things in the South Coast as well, Montecito, part of Santa Barbara City, areas of Carpinteria, and I would expect, depending on the weather, there could be more. It's hard to say for sure. We've had over 200 calls for service related to the storm within the county. Most of those have been responded to and closed out. Some of those are still pending. Like I said, we're able to respond to those high priority calls, so some of these storm-related calls kind of get pushed down a little bit, and we get to them as we can. We've also responded to 5 water rescues throughout the county, 2 of which were in Lompoc City, and another handful throughout the county, which one's still in progress. A couple of things to think about. If you're not in an evacuation area from the operations side, and you have no need to go out of your house, please stay home. The problem we're having is a lot of extra traffic on the roadways, not necessarily evacuating, but there's so many roadway issues in the South Coast and areas in the North County, that they're impeding our response to the calls. So if you don't need to be out of your house, please stay home until this event is over. So just in closing, over a couple hundred calls that we responded to successfully, a handful still in service, calls still happening, shifted a lot of resources all over the county to help different agencies as their call volume increases. And remember, our goal here is to stabilize this incident from the operations side, get everybody home as soon as possible. But to do that, we have to be able to get to all these calls, manage them, mitigate them, and then make sure it's safe for everybody to get back home. With all that being said, if you can help us in any way possible by staying home, do that, and we'll get out of your hair as soon as possible. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chief Ederer. Next up, I'd like to introduce Santa Barbara County Sheriff Brown.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Brown, the Sheriff of Santa Barbara County. As was said, we've had quite a day today, and we still have a lot more to go. This storm is still impacting the entire county, and it is especially impacting the South County. We're continuing to consult with both the Weather Service and the fire protection agencies across the county with respect to our evacuation orders and our shelter-in-place advisories. The rain has caused localized flooding throughout the county. We've had many impacts from that, and as a result of that, we have evacuation orders that are in place for the entire community of Montecito, numerous parts of Carpinteria, Summerlin area, and also the Alisal and the Painted Cave burn scars. The one asterisk continues with the Alisal area because Refugio Road is completely impassable now as a result of the runoff just being too deep to be able to cross safely on that road. We are asking everybody in that area to shelter in place and just remain where they are. But we're really kind of asking everybody in the county to shelter in place, as it were. If you, as just mentioned, if you don't have a need to be out and about, please do not go out driving today or even tomorrow up until at least midday. We are dealing with a tremendous number of road closures. Some of the most significant ones on the local level would include Kinnevin Road, Refugio Road, as I just mentioned, Stagecoach Road from Paradise to Highway 154, and the 2300 block of Sycamore Canyon Road are all closed. There are other closures as well, but I'm going to give you an update on the situation with Highway 101 because that is the biggest impact. I'm speaking on behalf of Captain Mike Logie of the California Highway Patrol, who tried to get to this press conference, but he's been unable to because of the traffic situation. So in terms of what we're dealing with there, let me give you the update. The Highway Patrol is in the process of closing the northbound 101 at State Route 33 in Ventura in order to try to stop traffic coming into the county at this point. They have had several closures for the northbound lanes that have been closed due to flooding in the Carpinteria and Montecito areas. They are going to try to reopen 101 northbound at Cabrillo, which has been closed, but the idea is we want to try to open up northbound within the Santa Barbara, the greater Santa Barbara area, so that people who are evacuating can come up into the area and go wherever they're going to be staying, whether that's at a shelter, whether that's at a friend's house, whether that's at a hotel. The problem is really exacerbated, especially to the north. Highway 154 is completely closed due to major rockfall that has occurred, and it is not going to be opened today. It is going to be a pretty arduous process. Likewise, the Highway 101 is closed at Mariposa because of a significant rockfall that has occurred at Gaviota. That rockfall, which basically was a rock net that has fallen out. I-beams have come out of the ground, and there's a significant amount of rock that's up there that is going to require a contractor to come in with heavy equipment to remove it. And I have been told that that will not occur today, that we're going to be looking at a closure of northbound 101 until tomorrow at some point, and we don't know at this point when that is going to be. But there are big boulders and rock blocking that and blocking 154. So southbound Highway 101 is still open, but I would caution anybody that comes south that you're not going to be able to go north, to go back if you are from the North County. So reassess whatever it is that your need is to come down there. Likewise, 192, Highway 192, several spots have had running water that is coming over the road right now, and the 144 at Barker Pass Road, the area of Sycamore Canyon around Westmont College, that area is also having major problems and closures as well. The 150 is closed due to a rock slide, and Highway 33 is closed at mile marker 12, also due to a rock slide as well. So it would appear that, again, unless there is some real need that someone has to be out and about, you should really be concentrating on staying home and staying informed if you are outside those evacuation areas. I've been in touch with Santa Barbara School Superintendent, and she has been in touch with the superintendents of all the schools in Santa Barbara County. We have made a recommendation that they close the schools tomorrow and not have our young people come in tomorrow, again, to limit the traffic of students and staff getting to and from schools. And it particularly is of concern because you have school staff who work in the north who live in the south and vice versa. And so that has been the recommendation, so you can check with your local school districts to see if school is going to be open tomorrow or not. I also forgot to mention, when I mentioned the roads, there is a Highway 1 between Black and Solomon Road is also closed due to flooding as well. I want to just also, on behalf of Captain Logie, relay some safety concerns and issues that he asked to be addressed. Basically, please don't travel unless you have an absolute necessity to, and if you do, please watch your speed. We have a lot of people that are speeding in an unsafe manner for conditions. The water that's on the ground out there now doesn't mean that if you're in a 55 or a 65 zone, it's safe to drive 55 or 65. You need to drive safely for the conditions, so please be cognizant of that. Standing water. If there's standing water in the roadway and you are going at speed, you are going to hydroplane, and your vehicle is at risk of spinning out and going off the highway. If you have a vehicle that you have to go out in, make sure that its tires and its windshield wipers are working. And also, there's going to be a lot of road crews out on the roads this evening doing road work and fixing, and so move over in your lane if you're passing a road crew, give them a break. All of this is something that we need to continue to be cognizant of and be aware of as we go through this today. So again, just to recap, we're not out of the woods yet. We've got more heavy rain coming today. We'll get a little bit of a respite into this evening, and then as expected tomorrow morning, additional rain and potential for thunderstorms, which also can cause heavy downpours, which are of major concern to us as well. So again, I thank everybody for their patience, and I encourage you again to get to readysbc.org for staying in tune and updated with what the situation is. And just a little later here in the presentation, we'll have some information about shelters and other alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Brown. I'd like to bring up Chief Niels for some closing remarks before we get into questions. Chief Niels.
As the storm impacts the county and its communities in an unprecedented manner, our team wants to ensure the residents of all jurisdictions throughout the county of Santa Barbara that all first responders have been called to duty. We are lockstep with our partners both at the county and state level, and I wanted to reiterate that our Office of Emergency Services has a tremendous website with all updated information at www.readysbc.org for pending information and updates to the storm activity and evacuations. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Niels. It's been brought to my attention that I should mention that there is a signed declaration of emergency that is being presented to the Board of Supervisors. In addition, that we are asking people not to be driving during these conditions. So if you're in the North County and that's not where you live, we do have shelters for them in the North County as well as the South County. That kind of concludes this portion of the briefing. We'd like to go into any questions that the press or the media may have. Are there any questions? Please.
There was a question earlier that I asked about space at the emergency shelters. Have we extended that space? Or?
Sure. I'd like to bring up Kelly Hubbard from Office of Emergency Management.
Thank you. So Kelly Hubbard, Director of Office of Emergency Management. Currently, the Wake Center is still not at capacity. We are working to identify a second site in South County and working to identify a site in North County, just again, in anticipation that we are asking people not to drive and they may not be able to get home if they went to work. So looking to get those sites confirmed, hopefully soon, within the next half hour, and then we can get that information out through a media advisory and on our website.
Thank you, Kelly. Next question. Go ahead.
Question, what can seniors and most vulnerable do? What's being done for them?
Okay.
Or resources for them?
Bring up Office of Emergency Management, Kelly Hubbard.
Okay, so if it's our seniors who have evacuated and they are looking for a safe place to go, our shelters are prepared and ready to take care of those seniors or anyone with any types of access or functional needs. They have the resources there and the right equipment, as well as staffing to help address those concepts. If they are at home and they are worried or concerned about what they might have at home to support them, if at any point they feel unsafe and they need emergency support, they can call 911. If they're looking for more resources or information, I would encourage them to call 211 or our county call center. I'll repeat that call center number for everyone, 833-688-5551.
Thank you, Kelly. Next question. Go ahead.
Do you expect the Alisol shelter in place to change?
Sheriff Brown.
That'll change based on the condition of Refugio Road. So in other words, once that gets to the point where the road is accessible again, then we will switch. If the conditions are remaining the same as they are now, we would switch from that shelter in place to an evacuation order. If it got to the point where conditions had lessened overall and it was safe to to remain there, then we would advise accordingly. But at this point, it's still shelter in place for people that are in the Alice Burn area.
Can you reiterate this Highway 101 closures both north and south?
Sure. The Highway 101 is closed northbound, essentially at Gaviota. Due to a fall at Gaviota, they're turning traffic around at Mariposa Reina. Thank you. The southbound had been sort of sporadically closed in a couple of spots, and that is going to be a fluid situation based on flooding, whether or not a particular ramp is closed or not. I will add that there are also issues with southbound travel beyond Santa Barbara's borders. The Ventura area, you know, anybody that's done it recently knows there's a lot of construction that's underway there, and they're having some issues as well in La Conchita. So the reality is it's potentially down to 2, maybe 1 lane. And again, if you can avoid travel, any travel, southbound or northbound, today's the day to avoid it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there any other questions? Okay, great. This concludes the 4 o'clock briefing. Please stay tuned and follow your local media and your local government social media outlets there for more information. Thank you very much.
Oh.